Graduates, walk on, walk on. What's up, my lovely people? What's up, my graduates? Let me show my face for a bit. How is everybody doing? Let me hail up everybody in the class as people come on. Big up yourself, my admin. Mrs. Say you arrived. Big up your nice, clean self, Dawn. Right, as she says, welcome one, welcome all to HTK's Live. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to show your appreciation to the channel. Right? Let me scroll up and see who is present and on time in a class. Professor Gorgeous Lady, good afternoon. How are you doing? Elita December. Yes, indeed. Do remember to like up the live as you come on. Michael, big up yourself. Hello. Diana, what's up? Nikki Nix, greetings to you, my darling. Tatiana, present and accounted for. Jeanette Johnson, big up yourself with the purple hats. I see you. Yes, indeed. Loving the Purple Hearts here, there, and everywhere. Sister Yvette, good evening, good afternoon. Misty Brown. Yes, man. I know a lot of people not expecting me to come on this late, but that's all right. It will soon build up. Daily Musings, good afternoon indeed. Let me turn on my camera. Let me turn on my camera. There we go. How is everybody doing? Man, people, I have had such a long day today. Such a long day today. I literally came home and I passed out. Yeah, I had my meal and then I passed out. And I am not a woman that sleeps in the daytime. It's always weird whenever I sleep in the daytime. And when I fell asleep, I had a series of two dreams. One of them was I would say a pleasant dream. It's like we were on all on holiday and we were at I don't know if it was some kind of aquarium or whatever, but the water was beautiful and clear, what we were observing, and we could see like, sea life creatures and stuff in the water, and it was all beautiful. But you see the second dream Mama have, hmm, the second dream Mama have, we were in Jamaica and when we were in Jamaica, we were at my family home. And is that I go outside for go say something to the helper. I go outside for go say something to the helper. And my hand touched something and one whole heap of black ants. Black ants just start come out from a crevice and corner in the backyard. A whole heap of black ants. And the black ants crawl on my hand, but it never bite me. I'ma brush it off. And when me go towards the lady, me say, where all them black ants here come from? And she said, you go wake up the black ants now. When me looking at people, me say, no man, me have to go secure the house so that the black ants don't get in the house. So as me I walk, the black ants, literally when me say the black ants look like carpets, right? On the ground. So me go, like me I go towards the house. And then there was a wall of black ants. The wall of black ants were flying black ants. So I close my eye, cap my nose, cover my mouth, and run through it. Nothing never attach and never enter anywhere. Went into the house, lock up all of the windows, everything. No ants came inside the house. Hmm. So I wake up and it was not a good feeling. It was an ominous feeling. So I wake up and I do some research as you do to find out what that mean. Hmm. Most sites that I went on that are, specific sites that I go on that discuss spiritual dreams and premonitions said the same thing. Spiritual attack on your home, attack on your business, attack on your marriage, must say. I went to one particular website and they gave steps in terms of what to do. So literally, that's why I'm late. So, God, what me tell you say, I get up. The first thing I did was bust a prayer. The second thing I did was check the meaning. The third thing I did was do what I needed to do to spiritually guard myself. You hear what me I said to you? Because we do not war against flesh and blood. Remember that. It is principalities. You hear what I'm saying to you? In dark places. And as a YouTuber that touches on taboo subjects, I discuss the things that many evil people wish to hide. I discuss the things that many wrongdoers wish to keep doing without persecution. I often have to step back and spiritually guard myself and guard my family. You understand? Oh, very nice, Professor Gorgeous Lady. That's nice to hear. A blossom. That is nice. Big up yourself, Fine Woman TV. I see you. Yeah, so let me go through again and make sure I'm not missing anyone. Daily Musings, big up yourself. Christine, big up yourself. Laverne, big up yourself. Social Spectator, big up yourself. Stephanie Border, big up yourself. Black P, big up yourself. Vanessa Grant, I see you. Nifty Friends, good evening. Vanessa, big up yourself. As she says, like up the live. Pi Gordon, big up yourself. Who else is here? Laverne, big up yourself. And Nadine Jackson, good night. So when I tell you that there are people out here who wish to silence bloggers like myself. They literally want us to not speak about these subjects because these subjects that we insist on revisiting, it causes people to look at them with scrutiny. You understand? And some will go above board to do certain things. I want to tell you that I have got a spiritual gift in that many times when I dream things, if I not so, I near so. And even my family, they're very afraid. If I have a dream about them and I tell them, them usually come back to me and say, "My God, don't dream we again because we're afraid." Because literally, as you say it, I saw it go. It is not something that I enjoy because it is frightening, right? And whenever these things happen, um, the first thing I always do is ask God for guidance, but I do not keep these premonitions to myself. I always make sure that I pass it on as the message is intended. So, the mere fact that I'm bringing it to my platform, I'm telling you that there is a spiritual attack. There is, but it is not going to work because I am heavily guarded by angels. I say it all the time, right? And it is the truth. They will alert me and they will fight these demons. Trust and believe. Don't mean to scare anybody, but I'm telling you what I know on the inside. Yes? Because you're trying to silence us or you're trying to get us not to talk about these subjects so that you can be free and comfortable to continue to take advantage of the vulnerable. Continue to silence victims. Thank you, Nikki Nix. You understand? But it's not going to work. Some of us are definitely too spiritually built for this warfare. And no matter how much you try to silence us, you're only going to get us to scream louder. The Purple Heart community is not just about likes and views. Some of you think that's all it's about, right? Some of you think that it's all about that. I want to tell you that it is the lowest views that we have received is talking about these subjects because Jamaicans generally wish to silence it. It's interesting because the other day I was on the dead because I didn't catch the live of Auntie Donna. And Cornerstone, who is a TikTok personality, who came out and basically exposed his perpetrator on social media. Cornerstone was present on the live when I was watching it. Um, and he was discussing the fact that he had lost his job Now, he lost his job because he had actually gone online and spoken about his case of SA from childhood. When he did this, he exposed eventually the perpetrator who did this to him. It has, because of who the individual is, which we will not say, it has caused a lot of threats to his life. And the business place was basically afraid that it may spill over or affect their safety. So their caution in terms of dealing with the matter was to remove him from post. He was working in a call center in a factory. Was to remove him from post to avoid any potential conflict or backlash coming down on the business and the other members of staff. So Cornerstone was experiencing great desperation and depression as a result of this. And Auntie Donna had shared his story about how he was treated by his mother. How he was basically, pushed out of the household to go and live in a home and so on and so forth after he was abused. Now, a lot of people may not necessarily know the details behind his story. So I'm going to share something with you. Just bear with me a second so that you can have a little bit more insight. Because there's a lot more to it. Okay, I can't play the song because it's music, right? But I can certainly show you the image. So, can we all see? That is Cornerstone. Okay, that is Cornerstone on TikTok. All right. So, in this photo story, he explains about his background. It says, at 3 months old, my mom left me in a health center. At age 14, I was emmed by a man in my community. I spoke up and was victimized by community members. No one believed me. This was him at that age. See if you can see it. There we go. Right? That was him, Cornerstone, at that age. Little boy. All right. He then said that he became a menace and was classified as a delinquent juvenile. A delinquent juvenile. And that was him when he did do the badness. Okay? That was him when he turned bad man now. At age 17, I was homeless. I was sent to jail by my mother after she refused to give me food, and I broke into her house and took some food. 17. He was homeless. So remember, we're following the timeline. 14 was when he was aimed by a man in his community, and the community silenced him. And then when the community silenced him and refused to believe him, he then became a criminal factor. After he became a criminal factor, at 17, he was kicked out of the house and sent to jail. And this was after the mother had basically refused to give him food. He break into the house and the mother obviously called police upon him. Then this one. This is the part that a lot of you may have missed or not understood. Yes, I want you to pay attention to what he has says here. He has said here, this is really important. It says, started being confused sexually and mentally. So in other words, what he's blatantly trying to say is that he wasn't sure if he was straight, if he was bi, if he was gay. And that suggests to me that he perhaps would have participated in certain acts that made him even more confused. Not sure, but it's giving me that impression with that confusion. So you can imagine already they have got this young man as somebody who chat too much in his community and they're not supporting him and they're not giving him any kind of advice. And the mother is clearly seeing him as a black sheep in the family. And then now for him to actually be confused about his own sexuality, you can imagine some of the things that typical Jamaicans are going to say. Him did want it. Yes. Him go out there go look man. You can just imagine it, right? Anyway, in order to cope, he then decided to bleach. He wanted to change him looks, basically trying to erase the person that he was to hide his past. He felt rejected and disgusted being black, so he decided to actually bleach his skin as a way of coping with that, almost like changing his identity and having control over it. He said he got himself mixed up in the wrong crowd and was doing the wrong thing. But then he decided to give his life to God, and God gave him the chance to change his life and to make himself into a better person. He said eventually he became a Christian. At first, it was a rocky road, but eventually he fell in love with God. He accepted himself and loved him for who he was, despite of his past circumstances. Okay, that's him right there. He is now a father of two beautiful daughters. He's still not mentally okay, but he is pushing life. He's pushing, and life is way better than it was before. When everything and everyone failed, God was there for him. And he still is. And he's saying a broken crayon can still make beautiful art. And this is his final picture in the picture story. Now, many were asking why it is that this business place actually fired this man on the basis of him actually speaking out on his truth. And I need you to understand this is the problem that we have in our island, in that we exist in a patriarchal society. I'm going to explain and break down for you exactly what this means. And a patriarchal society thrives on the vulnerable being mute, never speaking up, never rebelling, and having to fold to systems without any recourse to justice. That's the only way it can thrive. It's his response to that inquiry as to why it is that he did not go up against the organization for discrimination, it was a discriminatory dismissal, was that he was on probation. So within the 3-month period, there is a probation as to whether or not you eventually end up with a permanent contract, or if you get dismissed, or if you get a temporary one, whichever arrangement the organization decides to give you. So you have got to go through this testing period to see if you are a good fit for the company. He went through the testing period to see if he was a good fit for the company. But he never got to 30 days. It was just before 30 days. They then released him on the basis of the fact that he had this story out there in the public. And then they removed him from post, claiming that safety threats were an issue to the organization based on who it was. Now, he says that he has no leg to stand on as a result of that, and I don't know if he had reached out to the employment bureau and this is what they told him or whatever. But I can assure you, sir, that is a lie. I don't know who advised you of this, but nothing goes so. Because even within the 3 months, discrimination still stands. It doesn't matter. Now, you're thinking that the only thing you can do is just go away and leave it as that. That's probably your choice, and you're also free to do that. But I can assure you that discrimination isn't a rampant thing that you are free to do within 3 months during a probation service, because discrimination is against the law, whether it is probation, permanent, or temporary. Now, unless it is that the company has been receiving actual threats on sites to say that people are being threatened, lives are being threatened, or whatever as a result of your telling of your truth, then the company has no leg to stand on to actually dismiss you from a job where you were meeting the criteria of employment. You are saying that you were very good at the job. You were there every day and you never had any problems. You were doing well in the job. So, unless on your contract of probation it says that employees, future employees, must not pose a threat to this company, you can take legal action against the company. It's about whether or not you want to. That's the next thing. Because maybe you were just glad for the job, whatever, you don't have a problem with the people them that work there, you don't want to create problems. Maybe it's going to cost too much. All of those kind of things are barriers. But whoever advised you is because them just are basically sell out that. But you have got legal grounds because it is still discrimination. A probation period does not mean that a company is free to discriminate against you. So I don't really know who told you that, but somebody is still trying to silence you. You understand, sir? And then now I listened to, so that's Cornerstone's story. And he has been speaking out about his situation, and I'm going to share with you a video. And it's interesting because I've shared Cornerstone's story long before Auntie Donna did. Nobody paid attention, but you know how it goes. You have to wait till it get to a big platform for everybody to know about it. You understand? But when I shared his story, he was talking about what took place with him. Let me pull it up. What took place with him on the road after telling people that he was essayed, right? And I'm going to play a clip for you. Hold on. So you can hear for yourself. But you know, really there. Yeah. Isn't it? No wonder boys go feel like say, oh, then I use the money and catch me. No boy man. Listen. My girl need it because girl can't catch you neither. But him and them get TM, brother. TM, yo, him and them TM. Oh, bro, I'm telling you, say bad man. You said me the weekend I grown your brother. Because I come and tell you no lie how long say, oh, I am so successful. Brother, I'm telling you, say man, we are politician link me, I really dark. So yo, you will be okay sending your love and hope. Only for respect from. I'm telling you, say man, you are politician link me. Is me dark, say Michael, me can't put in a politics. You know one house, you know one car. You dog, I can't go show me one yard to do much hardy. And brother, papa, and say, see them have them enough, you know. Isn't me all you have to do is just my jerky. I'm say, see, brother, I'm good. I'm bad man, that really. Make it my fault. Isn't me? Same thing with the nigga from New York. Imagine say, oh, me not going to know which politician, me not going to do that. Isn't me? Same thing with the nigga from New York. Iman say, yo, ima marriage counselor in New York. Iman say, yo, all you have to do, Iman say, all you have to do, I'm married to you and me get my green card in a 3 months time. Isn't because him know the rules them and everything. It have them say he will take care of me, you, them, everything. I said, no, bro. You want to come to Jamaica and call him a bomba to the Facebook messenger. You see me? No, brother, I'm governed, bro. You see me?
brother, if me the weekend I really bro, me get tricked a long time. You see me? Same thing with the dirty pastor boy. You see, in our day when time I have my second daughter, I still about my blood clean. Everything gets sticky upon me, you see. I'm a linky pastor boy, I say, oh bro, give me a look at him now. It have sent me 4,500 to my CIBC account the first time. And then the dog I say, yo, in in order to give me more help possible, I'm going to come at home and sleep with him. I said, Matty boy, I mean, I said, wait a man, come good. You know, run my file. You see me? We have bad people in our real life, brother. You see, in our real life, me not go them with it. You know, man talk about, me can't take care of you. Me not go foreign. And me come back, need this and need that. Me I say, and then if them boy feel as if they can't catch me. Eh? Me I really am meds. I mean, I say, and them boy take my far. You see me? I'm just done with him, bro. I mean, I say, oh, John Star. And batty boy, them just different, bro. You see, the man them just different, brother. You see me, I'm look at them and I say, bomba. And the amount that you go to them trick in a real life, and the amount I get the youth so can't hold it in a real life, but then trick. Because they have things, I mean, I say, I'm not going to do one of them youths then. You see, man tell me saying can't give me anything more. Wow. This man, I'm just face, I'm just see.
Wanna hear that? No, it's obvious to me that Cornerstone is fighting quite a few demons here because why are you persistently communicating with these kind of men that are seeking to get your tambats in order to give you things? Is because of what you have gone through. You are not discriminatory because you yourself have gone through the whole process of being confused about your sexuality. But, brother, I'm going to tell you this, you need to step away from these kind of circumstances because no straight man is going to reach out to you and expect this. And no straight man is going to want to talk to you off ear to give you things. So when you see men wanting to do certain things with you, you need to learn to read the signs and stay away from them because let me tell you something. You see negative energy, it draws to negative energy. And you see those demons that you are fighting will attract those demons that are out there. You are trying to walk the straight and narrow and move away from your past and your trauma. Do not engage in these kind of discussions with men who are offering you sweets in order to get what they want to get out of you. Because a lot of the comments on the live was then, why is it that this brother here have so many men trying to offer him things that eventually lead to this kind of discussion? Because you are receptive to all these offers online. You have to be very, very careful, sir. Very, very careful. I saw some comments. Um, uh, Tatiana said they tried to shut down my TikTok because I beat Dirty Boy every time. I got it back though. No weapon form shall prosper. I'm covered under the blood of Jesus. Yes, Tatiana, this is the kind of people that they are. You understand? When they cannot face their truth, they try to silence people and make it look as though you are part of a teardown. I could not care less. I've always said, take this channel, I'll build another one, and it will never stop. It's you're gonna be spending your whole life caught up in it. Trust and believe it's not gonna stop anything. Michelle said, can he prove discrimination? Now that's another question. It is another question, and I have no answer for that. That would be something that Cornerstone would have to have a response for. Maybe he can't prove it. Maybe everything that was said to him was verbal, nothing was in writing, right? So without it being in writing, that it's because he went and spoke about his SM situation, maybe maybe I can prove it. You understand? And somebody asked a very crucial question. Why is it that so many Jamaican men are like this? It's a very good question indeed. I don't know if you are aware of this individual who is also on TikTok. And she has written a book, and the book is called Daddy Don't Touch Me There, right? And in writing that book, she spoke about the fact that her father, who was a police officer, you would have seen the video, it was going viral all over YouTube, had essayed her when she was a little girl, right? um but what the part of her story that really affected me was when she was talking. I can't play it because it's got music on it. Was when she was talking about her mother. Have you seen this one? Yes, have you seen this one? So when she was talking about her mother, she said that her name is Monique Duran. I downloaded her book today from Kindle. I'm gonna read what she said her mother did to her. This was 4 days ago. She did one about her father, where she put her father's face in the background. So according to Monique, her mother put grave dirt in her food. This is all to silence a victim. Listen carefully. And said that she would never walk again. Because she said, I stole my father. Hold on, because she's doing this real quick. So she played multiple obeah to paralyze her face and then said that she would never walk again. The mother claimed that Monique had stolen the father, which is her husband, because he essayed her. Okay, that's the book right there. See the book? Yeah, Daddy, don't touch me there, right? And it's Monique Duran. So she then said, Hmm. She doesn't believe in Obia, but the energy is real. Her face was indeed paralyzed. And you can see that she's got like a lazy eye. Don't know if you've looked at her carefully, but she's got like a funny eye, right? Her face was paralyzed and she lost mobility for 10 years. Big up yourself, Shay. I did see your greeting, but I didn't want to stop the recording, right? And she lost mobility for 10 years. Her mother. Hmm. You understand? But she's saying that she's stronger than the mother and any Obia. And then 10 years ago, she wrote and started and published and sold over 40,000 copies of her book. She then healed her body, started her own detox company. Yes. And today she helps people all over the world in many ways. She has become an advocate against the things that she has suffered and she is thriving. So her name is Monique Duran. And as I said, I downloaded her book on Kindle. There is, oh, hold on. Daddy, don't touch me there. Hold on. So that is the book on Kindle. Yeah. So I would really strongly suggest that if you wanted to see, if you wanted to read it, that you do that if you don't want to pay for the hard copy. The Kindle copy is really cheap, especially if you have Kindle Unlimited, it's no big deal. All right. Um, but I'm gonna read a little bit of it to you. I want you to hear a little bit of the story just to whet your appetites. And then we're gonna go into why it is that so many of our men are like this. So you never expect your first thoughts of sexuality to be triggered by your own dad. But such is the tale I have to tell. When I was 11 years old, many things in my life began to change. High school commenced and new body parts grew. And with that crossover from childhood came many new elements of life a child could hardly prepare themselves for. Prior to this time period, my life was a simple but very happy one. I grew up in what was considered a normal home, well, at least to us in Kingston, Jamaica. A mother, a father, my sister, who is my junior by almost 3 years. But financial hardships had forced my mother to leave the island. How many times have we said this? Absent mothers. Hmm. Just like so many other parents had to before her. At that age, when you find yourself living in a 5 bedroom home with a yard big enough to house two more like it, be blessed to have hired help. While you hear of others who barely had food to eat, it proves quite hard to understand what financial hardship was. It took a few years and some growing up to truly understand the behind the scenes of it all. In her leaving, it meant that I was in the sole custody of my father naturally. He was at the time a sergeant in the Jamaican constabulary force, and I was proud of that. It almost felt like an accomplishment to me as a child. Some persons, when told of my father's occupation, almost seemed to offer a sense of reverence, which served to provide a sort of code of protection while at school, as no one dared to trouble policeman Pitney. He had an innocent smile that allowed everyone in his presence to feel safe. Hmm. And I, being a child, was no different. In fact, I was consumed by his charm, as he always played the daddy dearest role better than anyone I knew at the time. He spoilt us, gave us most things our hearts desired. Sounds familiar? Always made playtime for us. Weekend outings to beaches all over the island. So naturally, he won Father of the Year with us every year. He was an equally stern man, demanding only the best from us in matters of school and behavior, and made no joke about putting fire to my tail if needs be after my 12th birthday. Something, however, changed in him. I suppose paying close attention now, one could say it perhaps began before then, but only then did they become so blatantly clear. Once I was considered no more a child. Why was his hand on my thighs? I thought to myself. This was certainly strange. We were watching TV together as we always did in the evenings right before the nightly news came on. Today was different though. Today my father decided his open palm would be rested on my upper thigh, leaving me feeling strange and odd. This is my father. I'm reading a bit to you, people. And hold it, Hold it. This is my father. It must be just some mistake. Perhaps he hadn't realized. The weird feeling gave me my first panic attack of many to come. I got up to use the bathroom as a tactic to change my sitting place. I returned to the living room, choosing a seat across from him, and my father gave me a look I'd never seen in his eyes before. Something changed. I could feel it, but understanding and coming to terms with what that change was would prove to be the hardest. A few days passed and no more incidents took place. I shrugged off the situation, thinking maybe it's all the new changes I was going through. Maybe it's I'm overthinking everything. Just as I had the thought and let my mind relax, he came home that evening and right on my lips landed an unusual kiss. Ew, I remember thinking to myself, and a few what the fuck? That's what it says. I slammed my hands into my lips, wiping them so hard, trying my best to undo what had just been done. With lips as dry as the desert sand, eyebrows meeting, and anger on my breath, I asked, "What are you doing?" He paused for a moment, then turned to face me and said, "I was just saying good evening." He walked away carelessly, as if it was just another day. Business as usual. While I just stood there dumbfounded and still numb. This is the part where many would say that's not such a bad thing. Dads kiss their daughters all the time. But this was different. He was being different. And his lips, staying on my face 30 seconds too long, said it all. The thing is, though, I wasn't overthinking it. Things were definitely changing and at a very rapid pace. What was once lap time became come sit on daddy's lap. The tone being the culprit and the context its partner in crime. If you could hear it as I still do today, you would cringe at the very thought of it. A hug became an embrace lasting too long, now ending with his private area, perfectly positioned between my legs. But I was innocent, and my imagination had not fully matured to what he insinuated. My thoughts weren't even in the same postcode as his actions. My logical brain knew that this feeling, these actions were wrong to be reported and by all means rejected, but I was 12. And my emotional brain took hold, and logic made no sense. How could it be correct after all? The new feeling of immorality had to be wrong. This was my father, and he wouldn't bring me harm. He saved people, helped them, and arrested the bad guys. How could he himself become just that? So I dismissed it as nothing, telling myself I had to be wrong. My hormones changing up had to be playing a role in all of this. The more I tried, though, to prove my father's innocence, the worse things became. The hugs, the kisses became slaps on the thighs, grabs on the buttocks. My breasts became target practice for his eyes, and the authority I was under seemed lifted just a bit. Emotions and logic went right through the door now, leaving me in a state of anger and confusion. I became paranoid about myself and mind, wondering why no one else noticed, or if perhaps my mind was just playing tricks on me. I can't read no more. When me tell you say, there's a lot. There's a lot. But what is evident is how she breaks down exactly what a child victim goes through. How they try to rationalize things, they try to minimize it. And the minimization is about still trying to see this person as a good person. We've seen this before in that very police report. The child does not want to see their father as a bad guy. So they're always going to try to justify, fix things in their head in a way that they can cope with what is happening. But their instincts will, and it will always kick off and tell them that what they're going through is wrong. If you are interested in buying her book, I suggest you do go and get it. It is very, very good. And when I tell you, when you start reading it, you will never put it down until it's finished. It's riveting. Horrific, but riveting. And her survival afterwards is a real feel good story. So when I listened to Cornerstone's story and I listened to Monique's story, I said to myself, I really want to understand why it is that the Jamaican society, and I'm not speaking on behalf of other members of the diaspora, I'm speaking specifically of the Jamaican community. Why is it that we struggle with predators and that our nation does not take a firm stance against it? Because that's the difference. I'm not saying that these predators don't exist throughout the world. It is everywhere. But the difference between everywhere and our island is that, and I'm not talking about everywhere as in the Caribbean, because the Caribbean has the same kind of problems like us, but everywhere in terms of the first world nations. The first world nations' response, once it's discovered and proven, is harsh. They don't play when it comes to it. Once it's discovered and proven. Look at that little boy, Xavier Williams. May he rest in peace. The Jamaican couple from Florida who tortured that child. Look at how that little boy had to endure in silence and suffer. Because our people are very good at silencing minors. We have got a rife spirit of patriarchy coursing through our genetic codes. And this is all coming from existing in a society of slavery. You're damn right. It traces right back. Hmm. We have this mindset where we feel like we own another person. Once we have given birth to them, they are our object and property. And Man that is more likely, and I'm speaking specifically about men, a man that is more likely to foster an environment where they can target vulnerables tends to be the kind of man that is extremely domineering and does not allow their females to have a voice. Everything was fine in Xavier's house until that boyfriend turned up. And once that boyfriend turned up in that household, things changed. The Jamaican father, the biological father of Xavier, couldn't even get through to him. You know that they brought that little boy to the hospital barely hanging on for life. And when they brought that little boy to the hospital and then discovered that the police were being called, they absconded from the premises and left that child to die. It was discovered that he was tied to a ladder and that a dumbbell was repeatedly dropped on his stomach. He had internal damages beyond repair and was in hospital for weeks in a coma until he lost his life. So when they arrested this couple, they arrested them on second-degree felony charges. And they kept them on that until Xavier lost his life. It was escalated to first degree. And now they're seeking the death penalty. Now, when you look at the two of them and the mother who showed Xavier so much love in all her photos, Xavier had all of the material things that he needed, right? For his age. But yet all of that was happening in silence. They were tactical with phone calls. When the father called, the mother was always there intimidating those children. They couldn't talk. They couldn't give any clue that something was wrong. The fact that she allowed some man who wasn't even the child's father to put his hands on that child. And do you know that at the hospital, when the police arrived, this woman was busy hiding because the man left, you know. The two of them left. Then the mother came back to the hospital with the other son. I suppose her guilty conscience was riding her, and she wanted to at least get the other child to say his goodbye because she could tell the picnic go dead. And that gave the man the chance to run. Police had to search for him, you know. It wasn't a straightforward arrest. You understand? And the police had to question him and question the woman. Had to question the woman because she was refusing to give up his name, protecting the person who took her child's life right to the very last minute. You see, Vegas song, when released, when he talks about women who protect these men, them only care about money and lifestyle. Yes, them sacrifice them picnic for PDF. You know that that song connects with everything that recently happened. You think Sir Vegas is one that is going to be silenced? If him can't talk it, him a go sing it. That song has to be the national anthem for the Purple Heart movement. I will anthem that. It's just how we can't play it. I listened to that song on repeat today. Repeat! Hmm. I need you to understand that patriarchy creates a social environment where things like incest can breed. You understand? It has an indoctrination mentally where the authority figures in a household feel that everybody is owned by that leading presence, that masculine presence. They are his objects. When you see a man is overly controlling, he will lead that family to a place where he has got final say in every aspect. And patriarchy does not always look like an aggressor. Sometimes that patriarchal figure comes across as extremely charming. But what you will notice is that anybody in that household dare not oppose whatever it is that they are saying. Their word is law. And it has come from slavery. Did you know that slave owners would often impregnate their black female slaves and give birth to their mixed race children, which they referred to as mulattoes? And that they would then turn around and bring these mulattoes into the household. And in the long run, eventually end up having relations with their own mulatto children. And it was never frowned upon because they were seen as cattle, objects that are owned. The mindset, which has been passed on through our blood, has got deep and far reaching consequences on how we handle sexuality and how we approach cases like this. Because it was silenced historically from our very inception as Caribbean people, it continues to be silenced. Notice that it does happen in other countries, first world countries, countries where slavery was never a thing in terms of the leading population being enslaved. But the reaction to it is different because in those countries it's regarded as wrong and people cry out against it. But where there has been a history of slavery, where these things happened rampantly from the get go, and it was legally and historically silenced, we have been taught not to talk about it. We have been taught not to talk about it. Mhm. Like I said, there was no distinction between property as a slave and property if we're talking about, I don't know, a house, a piece of equipment for the plantation. They were all considered the same. And just as you could do anything with your house, you could do anything with your property, you could do anything with your slaves. It didn't matter that you got this slave pregnant and that is actually your child. You could still indulge with it because it's your property. This kind of predatory behavior is long standing in our culture. It has been there for so long. There is a whole study on it. When I was reading it, I was like, oh my God, this is where this has come from. Because I could never understand. It says here in this, it's called the Hastings Women's Law Journal. And if you are into research like I am, feel free to go and read it. There was a legal right to ownership, combined with the slaveholder's belief in his moral right of ownership and natural superiority to the African. It provided the justification for daily degradation and subjugation. Slave masters had free sexual access to their female slaves and generated large numbers of mulatto children who, while in truth the biological child of the slave master, was treated as slaves. It was therefore not uncommon that slave owners would have incestuous relationships with their daughter slaves. Mulatto, quadroon, and octoroon faces were the consequences of sexual liberties that masters took with their slaves. Every year brought with it multitudes of these slaves, a new group of people springing up in the slave states, held in slavery and looking vastly different from those originally brought to the islands from Africa. The mixed race in the slave states increased, and there were thousands of slaves who did not differ in complexion from the whitest slave holders. It was normal for patriarchal men to take advantage of their property. And when we observed this kind of living and eventually became landowners ourselves, it repeated. The mentality repeated and it kept repeating. We are completely fractured as a people. And many will say that this is demonic as well. Many will say that if you're a spiritual person. But now we have women who are all indulging in this situation, in that they are now some of the spearheads when it comes to silencing victims. Some will say it is out of fear of the person that they're with. Others will say it's because they want to keep the man. They prefer the man. Vegas's song implies that the woman choose the man over their own child, right? Just because the man is putting a smile on your face, the man is giving you money, the man is making you feel nice at night time or whenever, just because you get your body touch up. These are the things that you choose because you are self gratifying. It is a huge form of selfishness. You understand? And there are some women who, because this is what they're receiving, will sacrifice their own child for it. But there are some women who are living in fear of the man. And therefore, they are pretending as though they are not suffering. And they would just rather say, okay, let's pretend this is not happening so that this man don't turn around and abuse me as well. And then they leave their child to suffer. Now, in the case of Xavier, I think that Xavier's mother, because she never started out like this, I think that she was under that man's control. I genuinely think that that woman was probably being abused by that man, because it's when he entered the picture that things got like that. And we will sit back and wait to hear what the results are of the investigations, because the case is ongoing, right? And in that particular state, in that particular county, accessing the documents is a nightmare, because I have been trying to. And because I'm based in the UK, it's a problem. So I'm going to have to get my people in Florida to try and get me a copy of the documents so that I can look at the redacted case files. You understand? But I'm telling you that there are so many examples of mothers silencing, actively working to silence their children. But if you notice, from we see with the situation with Cornerstone and we see with Monique's story, they have grown into adults and now they are talking. Now they are speaking up. They're not going to stop speaking up because there is nobody there to threaten them anymore. They're now their own person. They're adults. And it is only a matter of time before a silenced child speaks up if they do not have a fatal end like Xavier. You understand? We've got to get past this mindset of owning people. This is why a whole heap of Jamaican man cannot walk away from women when they no longer love them. When a woman no longer loves a man, the men want to turn around and unalive the women because they think that they own you. It is a mentality that has been born straight out of enslavement. And nobody is investing in actually removing that enslaved mentality from our people. We used to have so much more conscious lyrics that used to get us to question our very being and our understanding of life. Now appear down in a throat and lick out throat back song. You understand? Nothing that gets people to reason. You see how few views Vegas' song gets? Because it's not talk about slackness and nastiness. It's talking about a taboo subject. Now you tell me if that is even fair. That's crazy. Something that is appearing in our paper every single day. Nobody don't want to hear that kind of song because him not talk about guzo, him not talk about throat back, and him not talk about chopping the line. You understand? Which is why I shared it and I said to people, share that song. What a song he make, man. Huh? Girl only care about money and lifestyle. Don't you see? She's crying. Choose, choose. You dash with your daughter and choose a man who is a liar. That the man I saying at the song, man, I said verbatim. I'm gonna go listen to it. Of course, them are gonna fight out that song there because that song is going to root up a whole heap of demons. Which is why we, the Purple Heart community, need to push that song. Post it on our pages and get everybody to listen to it. You understand? I wish there was a way that I could flip in purchase that song so that I can use it on my platform every flipping day whenever I'm discussing Purple Heart stories. It is a hit. Big up yourself, Vibe Studio. It is a hit. That song is a hit. It just little bit too short. We want a part two. You understand? It just too short. We need a part two. Cause the thing was raw. When me listen to it, it's like goose people full up the whole of my body. We actively believe in silencing people to talk about these things. Now this woman is talking about the fact that her mother had come out, but she wants to her. If reveal the father do what him do to her. Now tell me if that mama they not sick. We have Cornerstone getting fired from his place of employment. Employers not even interested in keeping victims safe. They don't care. That's your personal business. Go on out the road, go angle it, bro. Don't bring it over here. You see what I'm saying? So because you were great, you can't get work because you dare to speak your truth. Nobody is going to try and rally around you so that you can survive. They're going to pull the rug from under your feet and leave you there to beg bread. Yes. Father God, every time I think about it, I said, there's a reason why you took me out of my country. Because me that probably end up at jail already, you know. You understand? Because me can't operate under systems where there is no justice, you know. Me can't do it. And me can't they road a protest all the time. Eventually me go end up in a fight with some police or some soldier. Because how? How? You understand? So I'm saying to you that a lot of these mindsets are connected where children children's rights are completely ignored. They don't have any rights. Anything mommy and daddy say, so it go. Look on the mother what they were beat the picnic with the broomstick. So till beat the picnic so hard the picnic end up dropping in a fire. Beat the picnic so hard the picnic end up dropping in a fire. And I think that child must have been what, 3 or 4 years old? Baby. And when we say don't beat, to think about how other ways that you can provide consequence, blah blah blah. Them say yes, I saw on a soft parenting and a soft up pity them, and that's why pity them is rule because we're doing a soft parenting. Don't you realize we're not having any soft parenting? The few people that are doing soft parenting are not the ones whose kids are turning the whole country upside down. Are the one that will not beat from morning till night at tear down Jamaica. I don't know, say it now work. You don't see that it doesn't work. But you see, we have a government that they are obsessed with securing votes. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to meet your little immediate needs. They're making sure that you have food on the stove for one night or 1 week. A shelter over on a head for few months to a year because them no care say afterwards them gonna push up the rate of inflation on the mortgage so much you no can't even afford to stay in there. You have a government where everything where una fi eat a cost, a wally, but then whenever them have them propaganda for go through in the communities, them put on tonka meal and boil manish water and full up on the belly, swell up on the belly with that so you can vote for them. And then afterwards them go right back to hiking up the prices. You have a government where is so fascinated with China that they would sell your soul so that China can take over all the work they're too lazy to do while they take the money claiming they're going to do the work. This is the government that's on have. But yet the government is not looking on how Jamaica is going to evolve in the future, and the future is the kids. Nobody not really a look on that. All them are busy at telling enough to do enough in the chicken we drop from Brazil. Hmm? That's what on the focus on. You don't really care about whether or not people eat the chicken. What you care about is that them get sick and cause a strain on our health care. We already a crumble. That's what I care about. Going on like you care about whether or not people get sick and you're so concerned about people's health. No, you just don't want to have to spend out any money on people coming in sick because them catch salmonella. You understand? It's protecting your pocket, not the people. Yeah? And when I see that nobody is noticing that literally every week the Jamaican newspaper is laced with stories where a child is being preyed on by an adult, usually within their own household, and there is no government response. Nobody sees this as a national security issue. Nobody sees this as your future being damaged. Nobody sees it. Nobody's speaking about it because we continue to be mute and continue to be silenced. You understand? It really grieves me and it makes me so glad that I no longer live there. I'm not going to lie. Because so many of you are so comfortable doing absolutely nothing. When we listen to some so-called bloggers, I run them like a dirty mouth. I come and talk about leave the young people them alone before them go clean up under them dirty bed and pick off the grey hair them off of them front instead of watching up my business. Y'all make me sick. And it make me sick. That's why some of una panera will despise una forever. Because of what una stand for. Mm-hmm. Me I see one tired one. I put up but who which person get family touch, family feel up. And I'm like, you using that as an insult? You are a sick bitch. Lowest of the low. Dirty scum. Some of them are out here sick stomach. Literally. Whole bunch of frownsy enablers. It really makes me wonder. But as I said to you, this thing is ingrained. It's deep. It's coming from a long, long line. A long line of mental brainwashing into thinking that this behavior is okay. And there is no psychological support that stops this mindset in its tracks, and no strong response when it comes to the law. No stern response that sets examples so people think twice about it. Look at a country like Florida. They still have death penalty. Look how many states in a first world country like America still have death penalty. And Jamaica is there not having the death penalty? A third world country where people so damn unruly? Bring it back. Make the process difficult and foolproof before it gets there, but bring it back. Exactly. Nifty says, I love Jamaica, but me would have never moved back. I value justice and proper healthcare. Exactly. And this is exactly the reason why a lot of us will not go back. This is the biggest thing about why we will not go back. You understand? It is because of the fact that there is no recourse for victims and the vulnerable for justice. There is no pathway to make sure that victims' voices get heard and that there is a direct payback through legal systems. No. Everything a hush hush. Keep it under wraps. It don't make sense. Talk about it. Leave it to God. Allow that. And then we end up with a whole system full of broken adults whose voices were never heard when they were children. Do you think all of them are going to be as proactive as Cornerstone to take to the press, as proactive as Monique to go and write a book about her story? No, some are not going to be that brave. Some are not going to be that courageous to use their circumstances to propel themselves forward or to get other victims to know that they are not alone. Not all of them are going to react like that. Some of them are going to come into a shop and wipe out a whole store of people. Or they're worse, going to grow into these dirty adults that turn around and repeat the cycle. Or even worse, they're going to end up like the parents. Hold on. I don't want to call that child name wrong, you know. Yes, it's Xavier Williams. I'm doing it right. I'm saying it right. And they end up taking their own children's life because they don't know how to discipline and they feel that children are property, they're owned, and they have to do whatever and never have a will and never have a voice and them can do anything with their little bodies because any little thing was done to their bodies and they couldn't talk and they train them. I reached out to her, Nursan. I reached out to her and they trained them to also be silent while they endure and suffer. At what point are we going to realize that we have got a national crisis and that we keep spitting out these kind of parents into the world because they are migrating and they're taking your filth that has happened in our island elsewhere? And we are now hitting those dynamics and those statistics in big foreign. More and more of our faces are appearing in the news. around these situations if I not DV a child abuse cases. The government just a keep quiet about everything, right? All I hear is when them come out and talk about CDA come out and talk about, oh, it is dreadful what we're doing to our children. No solution. No solution. We have a child line. How active is it? How used is it? How much do you push that these people get serious consequences if discovered? What systems do you have in place to keep a child safe if she actually discloses or he discloses? There's so much wrong in our island. There's so much wrong around this subject, especially. And that is why a lot of them will even seek Jamaica when it comes to fighting their case because it's only Jamaican law will try to cover up dirty child molesting people. Hmm? But over here in America, man get away with aiming and walking like innocent person. Yes, they do get away with it. That's why I said I made sure I was very clear when I spoke about it. I said there has to be a charge and serious evidence for the conviction to go through. But when they do have that, the conviction is heavy. When you see people getting away with it, the case wasn't handled properly. You understand? But anyhow, the case was handled properly. That man would not be walking around the place. Government don't care about these kids who had come forward and speak. What they would is send the PDF back home to the victim. Yeah. Once it's a foreigner in this country, what do them think? Then they must send them back a whole heap of PDF sent back to Jamaica in the deportation through Trump administration. A whole heap of them end up back in Jamaica. And them end up back in Jamaica. And what has our system done to ensure that these people are on a register and they're monitored and they're kept away from children? Nothing. They go back and they can move right in next door to a school. This is the kind of foolishness that we have to endure in our island. And that is why we insist on seeing stories about more children, and them father, them stepfather, their uncle, them brother, and sometimes the mama too. We view our people within our household as objects. That's what we were taught. And we still don't break it. Hmm? And our children suffer for it. SJ says it's not only the government because look at the Cornerstone story, the entire community. Thank you. That's why I tell you, say it's far from just a government thing. It goes way back. It is coming from how we were established as a people. It is wired in our genetic coding of trauma. I'm telling you, it is coming from enslavement, from slavery, from colonization, when black bodies were seen as objects used by their owners. And anything could go, and there was no law to stop it from happening. It was endorsed, it was allowed, and when they even impregnated their female slaves, the children also became victims, and that mindset was taken in and absorbed by our people, and it has been duplicated over generations and generations, and it hasn't gone. We are fighting and grappling with demons from our historical past. It hasn't gone. And the mindset that it must be silenced is also inherited. Let me see this. Yeah, Tatiana, I saw, and let me tell you something. I don't watch these people anymore. I don't watch these sick people. I don't have an interest in what they're going on with. I just wait for another channel to talk about it, and then I will listen because I honestly I'm not giving them my views. It sicks my stomach. I don't go over there anymore. I have no interest in it. I have no interest in it. Those people are disturbed. You understand? So anything that's going on over there, I don't watch. People come and they tell me stuff, and I don't look because I can't. My constitution cannot take it. You understand? I will just wait for the next headline news because it's only a matter of time. Remember, these people they don't change their spots overnight. Hmm. That may I tell you, they don't change their spots overnight. So we just have to wait. I tell you, there's nothing else that we can do about it. We have to wait for it. And it is unfortunate that we have to wait for it. It is absolutely sickening. Absolutely. I cannot watch and absorb that anymore. I've stepped away from it. It doesn't mean that I'm telling anybody not to talk about it. No, talk about it all I don't want because I said that them not feel comfortable out there. Talk about it. Right? But me, I am waiting because it's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time. Such patterns of behavior do not just disappear. Exactly. Exactly. Prison. There are things that I can't understand how women do it, how they ignore it, how they pretend as though it's not happening and allow their men full access. Allow their men full access to their daughters. I don't know how you do it. Something is very wrong with you. If your daughter makes a claim, why are you going to have this man all up in her personal space like that? Something is wrong with you. And when something like this happens again, you might as well take your own life because that is nothing but you offering up your own child on a platter to be taken advantage of. You understand? They're not worth the breath or energy at all, Donna British. I'm sick of them now. I don't speak about them anymore. They're not a part of my content. I've moved on. But I have not forgotten. And as I said, I sit and wait because it bound for happen. Time will tell. You understand? Anyway, guys, it is a mindset thing, and there is much work that needs to be done and much that needs to unravel when it comes to these kind of men, and these kind of women that exist in our culture. But I am concerned that there is no game plan to tackle it. And whatever it is that they think that they're doing, it isn't working. We have too many cases. It's every day. We have too many cases. It's ridiculous. You understand? You're damn right, sizzling hot. Anyway, we just have to keep praying and keeping our children safe is our priority. We're not going to be one of them careless mama. We're not going to be one of them careless mama that is going to throw our children to the wolves. We're not going to be that. And we're not going to choose material things over our kids. And we're going to see to it that other people's stories are told so that the world knows that this is a problem. It is a problem that needs to be addressed and fixed. And we will keep the Purple Heart blazing for these victims until they get justice. It will never stop. No matter how much you threaten, no matter how much you take down channel, no matter how much you think say, yeah, stop people, bread enough for we not depend on this like you. We'll start a new one and start from scratch and build it right over. And it will be fine because the stories must be told. All right. So big up on a nice clean self. Hope you have found this interesting and that it made you have some provocative thoughts about this topic, and for those of you who have gone through these circumstances, I also hope it makes you know that there are people out there who are speaking out, who are not holding back, who are clamoring for justice right alongside you. You are not alone. You have got a space where you can come and talk. If it's not on my platform, it's on Vibes platform. If it's not on Vibes platform, you have so many others where you can go and have your say. That's all about the Purple Heart movement and making sure that there is justice for victims. We will continue to raise the mantle when it comes to these discussions and to share with the public exactly what it is that some of us are going through as a society without any kind of pathway to seeing to it that predators are locked away. We have to do better in our diaspora. We have to stop this. And we have to stop celebrating people who silence these discussions. If it's one thing, if somebody was innocent and didn't do what they were accused of doing, why wouldn't they say the Purple Heart movement is necessary? So what? Isn't it happening in other places, even if you claim it's not happening where you are? No, instead you want it silenced. And that says a lot about you. Big up on a nice clean self. Like up the live and drop all of the purple hearts. Thank you so much for attending a touch of class with HTK. If you are new to my channel, hit that subscribe button on your way out. All right. And yeah, purple heart forever. All right. Later. Bye bye.